We are breaking down another one of your Dynasty teams.
Come on.
We do this series. We do a video every week. Now, if you would like to submit your team, we can't guarantee we're going to grade it, but we always look through all of them. Join our Discord with the link in the description. And then in our server, there's a text channel that says Dynasty Team Grades. Make sure you send the right screenshots in there. We look through it every week. If there's a team that we find that we really feel like we can help, we make a video about it.
Correct.
So if you put a team in there that's just absolutely stacked, it might be harder for us to make a video because we're going to say, this is a stacked team. You're doing great. So we are looking at _ Gregory's team today. Okay.
Come on, Gregory. Underscore it first.
It's a 12-team league, super flex, and he left some context. He said, entirely unsure what direction to take this roster in.
Okay.
When I read that, I thought of like a British accent because it sounded so proper. Entirely unsure.
Just entirely unsure. Right. Okay.
Entirely unsure what direction to take this in, Almost like Pride and Prejudice. My wife loved watching that movie. Anyway, so what am I even talking about? We're talking about Dynasty football here. We are going to look at this team and break it down position by position. And we're both going to give advice, things that we might do. Hopefully, you can absorb that advice. And if things stick that you think make sense, you can try to go out and improve this team.
Correct.
I will say from the get-go, I think this team is good. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a top 3 or 4 team in this league if I was to guess.
Okay.
Where would you stand here? Do you think this is like a competing team right now?
I think I actually do believe it is a competing team. I think it could make the playoffs.
Agreed.
Can it go all the way? I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe it makes the playoffs at least, which I guess
I would agree there. I would agree that it's a good team that can make the playoffs. I don't know that it's got that oomph in it to really win a championship, but things could pan right. Let's go quarterback first. Tell me what you think about this quarterback room.
Yeah, quarterback room, Trey Lance, Tua Tags, and then Jimmy G just to lock up, that 49ers backfield. The hope and the expectations Jimmy G is going to have a starting opportunity somewhere else, whether that's Carolina. I feel like Browns is a really good opportunity right now. I think it's okay to hold Jimmy G. If Jimmy G does not get re-signed, I'm looking to acquire a low-end quarterback, a Golf.
Sure.
A Mitch. Well, maybe not a Mitch because he's not 100% sure he's going to be a starter, but someone like a Jared Goff, 1 year deal type guy, just to have, just in case Trey Lance goes down, just in case Tua goes down. That's the thought process, but I love the quarterback room. I think it's really, really strong.
Sure. I would say for me, there's just it's not that there's limited draft capital. We just don't have capital to really play around with, I don't think. So I'm personally happy with this quarterback room. You guys know how much I love Trey Lance on this channel. One of my breakouts this year. I do believe Tua, he's surrounded by such good talent. Even the talent alone could carry him to fantasy relevancy. And then Jimmy G, I think Jimmy G is being way undervalued in the community right now. He's not like someone who's in his late 30s, right? He's proven that he can bring a team to a Super Bowl. I think he's going to get a starting opportunity. So for me, I feel like you should just stay pat on this quarterback room. Because I think the way we view guys like Trey Lance and Tua next year, I personally believe that we could look at this team and say, damn, you are super strong at the quarterback position.
Right.
All right, running backs. This is one hell of a running back core.
For sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you got Chubb, Etienne, I love. Ken Walker, I love. I feel like those two guys in particular, for me, Etienne and Ken, I think those are the pillars moving forward. Dameon Pierce, pretty good depth.
Love that.
Which is why I think you can trade Chubb away.
Exactly. I think
we're going to suggest that as well.
We're on the same page here, and because we do question Nick Chubb's future, obviously with this whole Deshaun Watson talk and where these Browns are going to go moving forward, and I think he's on his second to last year of his contract or something.
No, he has a pretty good contract. I'm not even worried about the contract or the age.
Lines.
I'm just worried about what this offense is going to continue to look like if Deshaun Watson's not there.
And I agree.
And I'm not even sure when Deshaun's going to play. It could be like, I don't know if we're here next year saying, is Deshaun going to play this year?
I hear you.
I had some ideas that I wanted to throw out. So are we both on board for trading Nick Chubb?
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and give me some ideas, and then I'll run some by him as well.
So first of all, there's two ways you can do this. You can do this for draft capital or players, right? So currently for the community, he's the RB11. I think that's pretty high. He's fairly low
That is pretty high.
in our rankings. That right there means people out there do value Nick Chubb. I think you can easily get her first for Nick Chubb. Whether that's in 2023 or 2024.
You should be able to get a 23,
yeah.
I think.
So
easily.
I think if you want to go that route, I would say trade Nick Chubb. You have some good depth in the running back, like we said, Travis Etienne, Ken, Damian, even Cordell Patterson, just in case,
Sure.
But for picks, for players, maybe I'm looking to do like a lateral move potentially, people that are in that same tier of running back, I guess, according to community. I'm thinking of people like J.K. Dobbins, maybe even a Saquon. I'm thinking of Austin Eckler if you can make it happen, or Joe Mixon. I love a Cam Akers. I know maybe Zach doesn't love that. A Josh Jacobs. Those are the guys. Elijah Mitchell, guys that I kind of have more backing and belief to have on my team. If you wanted just to get another running back, like you can just trade running back for running back and go make a lateral move, or you can obviously go in a wide receiver play. But I think the running back position, I think to trade him away for another running back could be prime, in my opinion.
Sure. I think what's important for your team is to give yourself a little more flex. Because, again, like I said at the beginning, I don't think that this team is winning a championship.
Right.
Things would have to go really well for you to win a championship with this team. So, for me, I would prefer to sell him for picks. And that gives me more flexibility next year. It also extends my window because most of my team is really young here.
Mm-hmm.
So I have seen multiple trades in our channel, Badake, where people are getting more than just a 23 first. I just saw someone yesterday get 2 firsts.
Yeah.
So what I would be looking to do is get a 23 first and a second. That second can be in 23, it can be in 24, but I think those are picks that I would be looking to grab. I'm not sure if you're able to get that second. I would settle for a first because I think it gives you more flexibility next year. But this running back class is pretty good. So I would say let's stay with the 23 picks for the first rounder.
Right.
I'm okay to lateral here.
Yep.
You said Saquon. I don't hate that idea. You said J.K. Dobbins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate that idea. Mm-hmm. I have J.K. higher than Nick Chubb in my rankings. I think you could probably get J.K. Dobbins and a third, for Chubb. I don't know if you said A.J. Dillon. Did you mention him?
I said someone like an A.J. Dillon. Obviously, that would include picks back for you. Elijah Mitchell, I think you can get picks back in compensation as well, or some small pieces.
So I was gonna say A.J. Dillon and a second. I think you can get that done.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is Tony Pollard and a 24 first. Okay, a little bit different because people don't tend to value the 24 first. I've said this before, it's not the right thing, but they don't tend to value 24 first the same way they do in 2023. I think Tony Pollard's on the potential brink of a breakout here.
Mm-hmm.
So he's someone I think could be extended and they could cut ties with Zeke. I've talked about that on a different video. But if you can get Pollard in a 24 first, man, that could be really interesting. So those are some moves that I think you could. I mean, we just laid out probably 10 plus moves for Chubb. I think Chubb is probably one of these biggest pieces that are going to help us extend this window and do it with players that we can probably rely on with a little more consistency.
Yeah.
Did you have any other moves in the running back position that you wanted to talk about?
I think the only other thing I would say, if you wanted to, when Cordell Patterson goes off in the middle of the year, if he does, that's a good opportunity to get some draft capital as well. You know, people saying, hey, maybe trade that to a win now team. See, you can get like an early second, a mid second, or maybe some other something, because I do believe this could, even though he did sign that 2-year contract extension, if they do draft a true running back next year, then he is, in my opinion, not done, but like his value is going to drop tremendously.
I think it's okay to say that with his age and also his play down the stretch.
Exactly.
It was pretty obvious that he couldn't handle an entire workload, and I think they're aware of that. He's more this guy, like you give 10 opportunities a game and he could change. He's not a 20-touch guy.
Yeah, and drop Tariq Cohen. Get some room. Get some room in there, bro.
That is so sad, man.
Yeah,
that is so sad. But yeah, you can drop Tariq. It's I'd rather have some rookie on my bench or a player who can maybe increase in value. Wide receivers.
Ooh.
For me, the pillars on this team for your wide receivers would be DJ Moore, Bateman, and Terry.
Yeah.
However, the only person I really feel like I want to keep, and I actually don't feel like I have to trade Terry. I'm just saying guys like DJ Moore and Terry, for me, they're on the trade block. I'm open to moving them, but I think Bateman is the one that I do want to keep at this point. Correct. Specifically, I'm okay to keep Terry. I personally believe that the community is undervaluing him. And if he does get traded, I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, like, is that really a bad thing for Terry to change teams?
Right, I hear you.
But for me, DJ Moore is the one I look at here, and I think, man, his value for me has been too high for a long time, and I think we might be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah,
so I'll say some ideas, but did you feel the same way about this, or
I completely agree. I think I see two options. You can. It's tough because once I say the second option is like, well, you kind of a rebuild. Anyways, my first option is you trade Terry and DJ and go younger, right? I'm not a huge believer in DJ Moore. Every single year, the breakout's coming. The breakout's coming. The breakout happened. It was short-lived, and that was with Sam Darnold, which is fine. Who's the quarterback of the future? Terry is going to get re-signed, and like you said, he can go wherever he wants to go. It can probably help him. Or you can sell them, or I did say sell them, or you can keep him and then just try to, move forward with this train. So I can bring you those two options, but one guy I am keeping is Rashad Bateman, though.
Agreed. Well, let's talk about DJ Moore because I'm on the same page there. I think his value's too good right now. He's still in quarterback purgatory. Even the talks of Baker, does that really excite me? Exactly. No, not really. What's the highest Baker has produced from the wide receiver position? So for me, if I can get a 23 first for DJ Moore, I'm pulling that in a heartbeat. Love the wide receiver class next year. I just saw him go in our Discord for a 23 first and a 23 second. So I think you can definitely make these kind of moves. And again, you're not punting this year, but with the moves that we're suggesting, you're making your own picks worth a little bit more next year. And then you're also getting more capital next year. So you can really go all in with the rookies that you kind of bring in next year onwards. But for me, even with DJ, like, I'm okay to lateral. Give me Jerry Jeudy in a second.
100%.
Give me Chris Olave in a second. Right? Like, these are some laterals that I'm willing to kind of do because DJ is so overvalued in my opinion.
Yeah, he is currently wide receiver for the community, wide receiver 14. Terry is wide receiver 20. People going around DJ, Michael Pittman, Deontay, Jameson Williams, Chris Godwin. If you want to go young, Garrett Wilson. You can even get Tyreek, wide receiver 13. Drake London, wide receiver 12. You can make a lateral move. If you really want to try to do win now, maybe you can sell DJ Moore and like a second, I don't know, maybe a second, or maybe that's a bit tough. I was going to say maybe DJ Moore in a second for Devontae, but I don't think people will take that. Devontae Adams, like, why don't you really go for it? Why don't you do that? And then I do believe Devontae Adams is still going to be probably just as valuable, at least you hope, going into next year.
Sure.
And you can still sell him for first the next year. So it's the same thing with Terry. Make a lateral move. People going around Tim Godwin, Wilson, Treylon Burks, Jerry Jeudy, Devonta Smith. Maybe not Devonta Smith, but once again, lateral moves. Try to get a higher upside guys that we not in QB purgatory. Like, both of these guys are like the definition of quarterback purgatory.
Well,
I feel like
with I would say Terry is a little bit outside of that. There's hope, at least. Yeah. There's hope.
For sure.
Okay, I think he's more talented than Michael Pittman. Pittman was able to finish, wide receiver 17 last year? But I would agree to, the more I think about it, you're probably right. I don't want to go out and get Adams, though, personally.
That's what I'm saying. Then you're giving up some value. You're giving
all
up
the trades
capital
that I'm suggesting are like, next year we're gonna have this capital to really build this roster, whether it's through the draft or it's through trades. Like, next year, I feel like with the moves that I'm kind of putting out there, I feel like, man, we're gonna have an opportunity. The other guys I was looking at is, I think you should be holding Bobby Trees and Christian Kirk right now.
Okay.
Because again, they're more players that I think will present value. Christian Kirk, you can already get a second for. What happens if he does get 130 targets, 140 targets this year?
Right.
You know,
right.
What if he does have, a better year last year because of the volume? I think you could get a lot for him, and you sell him right before they replace him as the number one target in that offense next year. Bobby Trees, he could
be a guy here,
with quite a few targets there in Tennessee as well. So both of those guys, again, the move I said with Chubb, you might get a 23 first and a second, okay? At minimum a first, okay? With DJ Moore, you could maybe get another first or Judy or Olave in a second. With Bobby Trees and Christian Kirk, maybe you can get 1 second there. Maybe with Bobby, you get a third. I don't know. Maybe you can swindle a second.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden next year, we still have the pillars. We still got our Trey Lance, our Tua. Jimmy might have a new job. Yeah. At running back, we still have Etienne, Ken Walker, right? Damien. And then at wide receiver, we have Terry, we have Bateman. And now we have all this capital to either draft guys that we love or to trade for. We have so much more flexibility. So that's kind of my direction for this wide receiver room. That's where I stand. What ideas were you going to present outside of what we've already talked about?
Yeah, I think the only other thing I can think of, because hey, Christian Kirk could get those targets. Christian Kirk could be that guy. I think I would love to keep Robert Woods. I do believe that, hey, he can be a low sneaky guy, and if he does get those targets, maybe you can sell him to a win now team. For me, sure, will be Christian Kirk. I'm looking at the community's ADP wide receiver 48 right now. People going around to him at Chase Claypool and Allen Robinson, a Brandon Cooks, Kadarius Toney. If you can make a lateral move somehow, I think that would be very interesting. It's not that I don't believe in Christian Kirk, and I don't believe it's just more like maybe I want to go with a higher upside player. I doubt you can get an Allen Robinson because a lot of people are valuing him a lot higher now. Yeah. I'm thinking of people like a Kadarius Toney, a Brandon Cooks, maybe even a Juju Smith, just purely because I think the volume is going to be there. The offense feels a little bit better. And Christian Kirk, for sure, he gets a $5 million, what was he, like a top 5 paid wide receiver in this offseason, something ridiculous.
Before other deals were made, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be chasing the volume outside of like the money opportunity that Christian Kirk got.
Sure.
Once again, Juju, Brandon Cooks, Kadarius Toney, those are the 3 guys I can really think of off the top of my head.
Sure.
When I think of making a lateral move with Christian Kirk.
No, I definitely get where you're coming from. I think my hope in Kirk is also attached to my belief in Trevor Lawrence still.
For sure.
My belief in Doug Peterson. And I like the moves they made this offseason. A lot of people don't. Obviously, they overpaid, but I think everything they did, here's the difference between the Jags and the Bears. Everything the Jags did was necessary for their franchise.
Yeah.
They improved the offensive line. They did get a weapon. What did the Bears do? They improved the defense.
Got Velus Jones in the 3rd.
Tight end position.
This one's interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually happy to hold. I'm really happy to hold with Irv here because for me, I've talked about him before as a guy I want to hold, as a guy who could potentially break out this year. Last year, Tyler Conklin got 87 targets. Those are all vacated now as he's in New York. Yeah. And by the way, 87 targets was good enough for 12th best amongst tight ends, 12th most. So I look at this offense, and Irv is someone that we could be talking about as a startable asset this year. Like, he could be on waiver wire lists coming up, just like Tyler Conklin was. But you have a younger, more athletic guy at that position, someone who can line up all over the field. And I think he actually might be the future over like Adam Thielen. Could we see a change of guard this year? Yeah, will Adam Thielen be less and less prioritized and try to get Irv Smith going in a contract year? So I'm happy to hold on to him at this point.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm not an Irv Smith believer, but with all the talks and everything that's happening in the offseason and people saying Adam Thielen's coming to the end of his contract, et cetera, and he is on a make it or break a deal right now, Irv Smith. I don't know if there is any draft capital I want to give up.
Sure.
To either make a lateral move or do anything else. Yeah, Irv Smith is interesting. Currently tied in 16, according to community.
Is that keep trade cut crowdsourcing?
Yeah, okay. According to the community. David Njoku, tight end 17, Zach Ertz 18, Hunter Henry 19. Do you try and go for one of those guys? Do you try?
I don't want any part of Njoku anymore.
The thing is,
same with Chubb.
Same. The thing is, Irv Smith is 23 years old compared to all these other guys.
Sure.
That's the problem.
And we didn't even really get to see him have a chance to break out.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough.
What about Noah Fant, 24 years old, tight end 13?
If I could send Irv Smith away for Noah Fant right now, I would do that. Sure.
Yeah,
I would do that in a heartbeat. I
don't
still
give
believe
up the capital.
Noah Fant's talent.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to give up capital either. That's why I feel like you have to hold.
Yeah.
You know?
It's tough.
All right. Team grade. I gave this team a B.
Yeah.
It's obviously not a superstar team yet, but there are really good potential stars that you're building around. And I think, again, some of those moves I suggested put you in a place next year to really either through the trade market go all out or through the draft continue to build this young competing team. So I give it a B.
Yeah, I gave it a B as well. It's a good team. Some couple more key pieces, then I think you're probably a year out from truly winning, but you're definitely making the playoffs in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah. All right, guys, comment down below. Let us know what your thoughts are on Gregory's team. Entirely unsure, he said. Hopefully this helps. Peaky Blinders. All right, let's end the video.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.